Happy Monday. Yes, I didn't disappear completely. I did for a few days. Elon Omar's new magic filing trick, $30 million. Poof, gone. It's magic. Your smart TV is spying on you, and a piece of furniture that I will bet you money you owned or your mom and dad owned in the past, especially if you are a boomer like me. I know my parents had one. I'll show it to you and you're going to go, "Oh my god, yes, we had one of those." Anyway, welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show. We are live on Rumble, and let me just double check because we had some problems in the beginning. But yeah, we are live on Rumble and on YouTube. So there you go. We're out there. All right, good news. What else is going on? Before we start this show, I just want to say a heartfelt and a sincere thank you to our audience out there. Some of you made some helpful things happen for me, and I really appreciate it. I want to go into all the gory details, but we did have a few issues last week. We got those straightened out. God bless you. Thank you for all that you did. We really appreciate it a lot. And you're just the best. You are absolutely the best, no doubt about it. It may be a small audience, but by God, it's one of the best audiences on the planet. And I really, in my heart of hearts, love you and I appreciate you. All right. So let us move it on up and out here and talk about Elon's magic trick making $30 million disappear faster than her principals in a stunning performance that would have almost any stage magician green with envy. The amazing sudden wealth of Democrat Representative Elon Omar, poof, is gone, evaporated, like dandelion fluff on a windy summer's day. The squad member claims that $30 million in wealth, supposedly in the hands of her and her husband, was just a mistake in accounting records. Oh, oops. Oops. Sorry. She says she's not a millionaire and blamed a major accounting error after a congressional financial disclosure listing her assets at somewhere just shy of $30 million. A lot of Republicans, congressional watchdogs keeping an eye on things said, "Wait a minute, lady." Amended filing, which the Wall Street Journal got their hands on, shows Omar and her husband's assets were between $18,000 and $95,000. That's it. A pittance, a mere pittance. And a huge drop from an earlier disclosure that estimated her holdings were somewhere in the vicinity of between $6 and $30 million. That's not a oops. That's a holy yeah. Omar's spokesperson, Jacqueline Rogers, said, "The amended disclosure confirms what we've said all along. The Congresswoman is not a millionaire." She added the filing was corrected as soon as the discrepancy was identified. Yeah. Okay. We believe you. Now, let's be fair. And she's selling oceanfront properties in Minnesota. Yeah. Nice one, Karen. Let's be fair now. Between 6 and 30 million to somewhere between 18 and 95 million. That's a hell of a mistake. That's not a little teeny weeny mistake. That's a big mistake. Any accountant making that kind of mistake should be fired immediately, if not sooner. Are we to believe that little Ilhan Omar and her venture capitalist husband never saw the initial report, which is horrendously apparently in error? Are we really supposed to believe that? Yeah, I don't think so. Imagine your accountant comes to you with paperwork, shows your net worth at, say, $30 million. Would you not stop and say, wait a minute, I'm not that rich? Sorry for Ms. Omar, but my horse squeeze detector is a little bit off the scale right now. Ding. Remember, her husband is still facing very serious questions about his business and his business associates. A longtime Democratic operative who worked for top party figures before jumping into private ventures is the now husband of Ilhan Omar, Tim Minette. Back in the spotlight, swindling allegations resurface. Congress investigates Omar's skyrocketing net worth with her husband's companies. That's according to financial disclosures. William Heyer and Myatt, who met working for the now Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison when he was in Congress, were both political operatives when they turned to private venture capitalism and the wine industry. Haler was a senior advisor to former Democrat National Committee Chairman Tom Perez and also has an extensive history working for Ellison, who was the DNC co-chair between consulting fees, reimbursements. Haler raked in over $250,000 advising the DNC and Ellison, according to the FEC filings. Here's the onion. Through these business ventures, which includes wine and cannabis, Haler left a trail of fraud and swindling allegations tied to EST Futures, which was co-founded by Haler and Minette and the subsequent formed Badlands Fund, which was created to control another investment fund the pair created called Badland Ventures. Now, even an absolute rabid lefty like Ilhan Omar is entitled to due process. Sadly, but it's true. Which in her case would seem to be a congressional investigation, maybe, into her sudden wealth. Not a bad idea. And even more, the sudden evaporation of her wealth. 30 million to 95,000 max. That's a bit of a jump. Now, the world of venture capital and high finance is not a place I have ever been or will ever in my life be. Not when you take a look at the bank balances. But this smells much more than just fishy to me. This is rotting corpse smell. This whole thing, an accounting error that amounted to tens of millions of dollars, and nothing was noticed by Omar or her husband, who had to know that they weren't really that rich. Sorry, not buying it. You're full of crap. We need a congressional investigation, and somebody better start one really damn soon. This woman needs to be stripped of her titles, her position in the government, frankly, her citizenship, and thrown her fat terrorist ass out of this country as quickly as she can go. You love Somalia so much? Head on out there. Enjoy yourself. Unbelievable. Outrageous. Danny, good morning. You're back. Maryland morning. Just saw the post on Facebook. Praise the Lord. Thank you. And I hope you saw the very beginning of the show. If not, please rewind it or watch it when we're done here and check that out. But thanks to all of our viewers out there once again for all the good things that you do. All right. J.D. Vance. Oh, man. He came out with perhaps what is the perfect response after the Pope calls out a narrative about him and Trump. There was some controversy last week about President Trump being critical of Pope Leo for being weak on crime and his remarks about the U.S. military action in Iran. Well, the Pope had made prior comments about immigration, military action against Iran that were critical of the Trump admin before Trump's remarks. But then the media, as they are wont to do, seem to be trying to interpret a whole bunch of remarks he made after Trump's criticism as an effort to attack Trump, promote controversy. They were doing everything they could to try and paint this the way they wanted the public to see it. Thankfully, their audiences on the corporate media are down so low, and our audiences here, where you get the real news, are huge. So people are getting the truth, but there are still, sadly, a bunch of people, older granted, but who believe the kind of crap they get fed on those corporate news sites. Pope Leo attempted to set the record straight. He said the media had been pushing a certain narrative that has not quite been accurate in all its aspects. Gee, that sure sounds like he's calling out the media for how they've been reporting this. Can we take a look? I hope I've got audio here. We'll see if it works.
There's been a certain narrative that has not been accurate in all of its aspects, but because of the political situation created when on the first day of the trip, the President of the United States made some comments about myself. Much of what has been written since then has been more commentary on commentary, trying to interpret what has been said. Just one little example, the talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace a couple days ago was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on myself and on the message of peace that I am promoting. And yet, as it happens, it was looked at as if I was trying to debate again the president, which is not in my interest at all.
You know what's weird? Is hearing a pope that actually speaks like perfect English. He's American, which is, I mean, we've had, how long has it been since we had an American pope, if ever? I don't know. Not Catholic. But so many of the popes are from different countries, and their English is, in many cases, quite limited or not so good. It is so strange to hear a pope actually speaking English so clearly. Anyway, the Pope said what comes next was commentary on commentary, trying to interpret what he was saying, translation, trying to read anything he said as an attack on Trump. He said the remarks made in Cameroon that were prepared 2 weeks before any of the Trump comments, were then made to look like he was trying to debate the president, when he said he was not trying to do that, and he was not interested at all in doing that. But a whole bunch of these slime ball bastard media people, the corporates, the slimy corporate media scum, including Reuters, by the way, strangely, but there you go, they interpreted the speech in which he spoke about tyrants, related it to Trump. The tweet was also cast as an attack on Trump by some, despite the fact it was clearly hashtagged Cameroon. You can see it right here. Where is it? There we go. I don't know if you can read that. It's kind of small, but right there. Hashtag Cameroon. Hello. So when it came down to it, when the Pope was trying to draw attention to the most important issue that needed to be addressed, with the problematic governor of President Paul Biya, media was ignoring that in favor of trying to focus on Trump. The Vatican has said that fighting corruption in the middle-rich Central African country would be one of the themes of Leo's visit. And the American Pope did not hold back by addressing Biya and government authorities in an address at the presidential palace. He said, in order for peace and justice to prevail, the chains of corruption which disfigure authority and strip it of its credibility must be broken. That from Pope Leo. Hearts must be set free from an idolatrous thirst for profit. Now, if you think what this Pope was saying, he's saying to the media, to others involved, don't try to manipulate my words for your narratives about Trump. J.D. Vance, VP Vance, welcomed what Pope Leo had to say, had the perfect response while kicking this corporate media right in the canoonies. Vance, I am grateful to Pope Leo for saying this. While the media narrative constantly gins up conflict and, yes, real disagreements have happened and will, the reality is often much more complicated. Pope Leo preaches the gospel as he should, and that will inevitably mean he offers his opinions on the moral issues of the day. President, the entire administration, work to apply those moral principles in a very messy world. He finally said he will be in our prayers, and I hope we are in his. Good on you, Mr. Vance. That is a great response. Be a great way to take it from there. Maybe the Pope might want to be more open and understanding of the media narratives like on things like this. I would hope so. But hoorah for JD and nice job. Well said. All right. What else we got going on? I know. This stuff. That's Blackout coffee. It is simply the best coffee on the planet. You're going to want to get yourself some by using that link down there in our description. It says Blackout Coffee. Hit that link, get over to their site, and check out all their fantastic roasts. Many of their most popular roasts are now available in ground. They will grind them for you, so if you don't have a coffee bean grinder, it's okay. They'll grind them. They've always got specials going on over there. We've got a special for you if you are a first-time buyer. You get 20% off when you use the code J20 and use our link in the show notes in our description. They've got a great idea for building your own coffee arsenal. You get a coffee subscription. So every month, automatically, you will get sent coffee. You save up to 20%. You get free shipping. Swap flavors whenever you want, whatever roast you want. You can swap it out, change it. You can skip and cancel whenever you want to, no obligation. And it really is a great way to get started, and you don't look down some morning, you get up half through blurry eyes and go, oh no, I'm out of coffee. It won't happen if you get yourself a coffee subscription. They've got pods, cold brew, instants. They've got the most amazing flavored coffees. My favorite, pitch black espresso. All great, and all, by the way, from a company that is 100% American owned. They work with local co-ops and American farmers to grow these best beans, picking only the premium ones. They roast them only after you order and then ship them out within 48 hours right to your door. Please use that link in our description below, and you may have to click the show more and it'll pop down, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Rumble or you're listening to us on one of our podcast platforms. Check them out. Blackout coffee, the good stuff. We drink a ton of it in this house. We love it. It is simply the best, always full-flavored, full-bodied coffee, but never, ever bitter. Thank you, John and the gang over there at Blackout Coffee. We appreciate that. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this story because I'm sure you've heard about it, and it is a horrible one, but just so you get updated if you haven't heard. The gut-wrenching details have been released on the man in L.A. who committed that horrific mass shooting of 10, killing 8 children. Absolutely devastating story out of Louisiana on Sunday. A man went on a 3-location mass shooting, killing 8, injuring 2 others before leading police on a chase after stealing somebody's car. During that chase, the shooter was shot and killed by police. Goodbye. Breaking reports on this unbelievably cruel slaughter of kids. 6 kids shot and killed in Louisiana domestic disturbance. 8 children between the ages of 1-year-old and 14 now have been found to be dead. Domestic dispute around 6 o'clock in the morning in Shreveport, Louisiana. 2 adults wounded. Shooting suspect is dead. Officers responded to what is called a rather extensive crime scene in the 300 block of West 79th Street, Shreveport Police Department said. Right now, they've got 10 individuals struck by gunfire, domestic disturbance, 8 deceased. Some of the children related to the male shooter, who has not yet been named. We send our prayers out to all those folks. I did, Marilyn. Marilyn's asking in the chat on Rumble, did you see Japan had a 7.5 earthquake today and they were expecting a tsunami? In fact, I was watching YouTube live earlier this morning, and they had live shots because there has indeed been tsunamis, not like that massive one that took out after Fukushima went down and all, and not that bad. But it was bad. They had the tsunamis come in and some destruction there. So yes, I don't have a story on that, but I did see it. It is happening. You can find updates on it. In fact, you can find live coverage over on YouTube if you want to check after the show. So yes, indeed, that is going on. All right. In the world of wild, wacky, and weird news, hold on, before we get there, Marilyn said all but one of the kids were his. Man. Danny, if I were that mother, I would just go with my kids. I couldn't imagine the heartbreak. Heartbreak isn't a word for that. You're right. Sadly, you're right. Man. All right. This one is, we've got such a weird variety pack on the show this morning. I looked at the list after I got it all put together and I went, where the hell am I going with this? Seriously. It's all kinds of crap from up and down and everywhere around. A top U.S. FEMA official, Federal Emergency Management Association, Administration. This is not a fake story. A top FEMA official claims he was teleported to a Waffle House. You know, if I were going to be teleported somewhere, yeah, Waffle House wouldn't be a bad idea. And Greg Phillips says teleporting, by the way, is no fun. A far-right conspiracy theorist who has become a high-ranking official in the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, claims that he was once teleported to a Waffle House. Greg Phillips, in December appointed to lead FEMA's Office of Response and Recovery, has spoken on multiple podcasts, not this one, about being teleported against his will. He claims his car was lifted up while he was driving and teleported 40 miles away into a ditch near a church. Another instance on the same episode, Phillips said he was teleported 50 miles away to a Waffle House in Rome, Georgia. I'm just reading it, folks. He says, I was with my boys one time and I was telling them I was going to go to Waffle House to get Waffle House. And I ended up at a Waffle House. This was in Georgia. And I ended up at a Waffle House like 50 miles away from where I was. He said, where are you? And I said, a Waffle House. And a Waffle House where? And I said, a Waffle House in Rome, Georgia. And they said, that's not possible. You only left a few minutes ago. But apparently it was possible and it was real. He did, however, have a warning for us about the dangers of teleporting, just, in case. He said, teleporting's no fun. You know it's happening, but you can't do anything about it. And so you just go. You just go with the ride. And wow, what an incredible adventure it all was. Waffle House, if you don't know, maybe you don't have them where you are, it is an iconic U.S. diner chain, which is known for being open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Craig Fugate, who led FEMA under Barack Obama, once said the Waffle House can provide insight into the level of seriousness of disasters. If you get there and Waffle House is closed, that's really bad, and that's where you go to work. So, fair warning, if you're going to get teleported, be careful. Just let it go and go along for the ride, because according to Mr. Phillips, nothing you can do about it. Just going to happen. Hopefully you get a Waffle House that isn't out of waffles. You see him picking on good old Pete Hegseth from our Department of War. I don't know that you saw this or not. It didn't make a lot of headlines, but it's another one of those dumbass corporate media stories. that you just got to shake your head and go, yeah, kind of makes sense. The media's pulp fiction Hegseth hoax is actually just about as dumb as it gets. Hegseth's full remarks leading up to the fake Bible verse shows he was never under the impression that it was an actual Bible verse. Duh. First of all, it was anonymous attacks on his personal life. Then it was a manufactured controversy over his Christian tattoos. Now, the desperate corporate slimeball media hacks are using the movie Pulp Fiction to go after War Secretary Pete Hegseth. The ridiculous hit job that went into high gear last Thursday afternoon, after numerous outlets, Democrat allies began puking up the same narrative. Speaking at a Pentagon prayer service, Hegseth quoted a fake Bible verse made famous by Samuel L. Jackson in the movie Pulp Fiction. Pete Hegseth quotes Pulp Fiction fake Bible verse at Pentagon prayer service, Variety. Pete Hegseth roasted by Gavin Newsom and others over Pulp Fiction prayer debacle, People magazine. Pete Hegseth recites biblical prayer that's actually a Pulp Fiction quote. The media's implication, of course, is that Hegseth and his team stupidly took or mistook a movie quote for an actual Bible verse. That is what's fairly obvious, the deceptive framing profited by these so-called defenders of democracy. It isn't even remotely accurate. These idiots. One selectively edited clip, they do that all the time, of Hegseth's speech was circulated on social media, and it shows part of what the War Secretary's remarks were when he recited the prayer in question. The clip shows a side-by-side video of Samuel Jackson's character delivering the same quote in Pulp Fiction. Now, the Pulp Fiction quote was padded from the Bible verse Ezekiel 25:17, which reads, "And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon them." Now, on the surface, the secretary's remarks were similar to the Pulp Fiction quote. But when you watch the full remarks leading up to the quoted prayer, however, viewers discover that Hegseth was never under the impression that it was an actual prayer from the Bible. Never. Addressing attendees during Wednesday's service, Hegseth said that he was handed the prayer days prior to a lead mission planner of Sandy 1, an Air Force combat search and rescue that helped rescue the downed pilot in Iran earlier this month. He noted the prayer was recited by Sandy 1, which is one of the Sandys, to all Sandys, all those A-10 crews prior to all CSAR missions, but especially the CSAR mission that happened in real time. The next part of Hegseth's remarks that leftists have conveniently chosen to ignore, listen, important. They called it CSAR 25:17, Hegseth said with a laugh, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17. To summarize, Hegseth recited a combat search and rescues team's prayer, which is a rip-off of the Pulp Fiction quote, which is a rip-off of the actual Bible verse. And Hegseth acknowledged that the quoted prayer was not the actual Bible verse. Didn't hear that one on mainstream media, did ya? Look, it's getting too easy to mock the media and the Democrats for the lengths they're going to go to try and gin up some controversy about Hegseth. They will do anything, true or not, doesn't matter. Selectively edit. The truth is, it wouldn't have mattered if he hadn't used the aforementioned prayer at all. The leftist actors still would have attacked him. They would have probably just attacked him for having a prayer service at all. And how do we know this? Well, because many of those same hacks have already attempted to foment a constitutional crisis about prayer services, attacked the secretary for his Christian faith, falsely smeared one of his Christian tattoos as a symbol of white supremacy. When it comes to slaughtering Christians and their beliefs, the left is right there to lead the charge every single time. The latest nothing burger will not be the last of this left-wing propaganda bullshit. There is no amount of lies that these people will not try and tell to destroy their political enemies. Absolutely crazy talk. We need a bit of a break. And I gotta do this because I found them and they were just too funny not to repeat. Two jokes. They're just plain jokes. That's all they are. I thought they were absolutely hilarious. I hope you will too. Pat, his wife, and their 9-year-old son, an Amish family, went shopping in town for the very first time. They were amazed by almost everything they saw. These people are Amish, and especially these two shiny silver walls that would move apart and then slide back together again. So the boy asked his father, "Dad, what is this?" And Pat, having never seen an elevator, responded, "Son, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I don't know what it is." And while Pat and his son were watching with amazement, a fat old lady in a wheelchair came to the moving walls, pressed a button, the walls opened, and the lady got in between them. In this little tiny room, the walls closed. The boy and his father watched the numbers above the walls go up sequentially. And they continued to watch until it reached the last number, and then the numbers began to light up in reverse order. And finally, the walls opened up again, and a gorgeous, buxom, 24-year-old, drop-dead, gorgeous woman stepped out. And the father, not taking his eyes off the young woman, said, "Son, quick, go get your mother." Oh, yeah. I know. I got one more, and I'm going to read it verbatim, but I'm going to warn you. It's got two very bad words in it, but they're needed for the joke to work. So please, maybe if you got kids, you do something else for a couple minutes, but this one's worth it. Trust me. A 7-year-old and a 4-year-old in their bedrooms, and says, You know what, says the 7-year-old? I think it's time we started swearing. We go downstairs for breakfast. I'll swear first, then you, okay? So the 4-year-old goes, okay, we'll do it. Well, Mom asks the 7-year-old what he wants for breakfast, to which he replies, I'll have Cocoa Puffs, bitch. Whack! The mom smacks the kid out of his chair. He flies across the room. He starts crying his eyes out. So Mom turns and looks at the 4-year-old, sternly says, and what do you want for breakfast? And the 4-year-old says, I don't know, but it won't be fucking Cocoa Puffs. Oh, I'm sorry. Well worth the time. I found those. I bookmarked them. I had to share them with you because they're just that funny. Yours, your smart TV is spying on you. And I don't mean a little bit. I mean a lot. Now, I don't know if any of y'all watch, I don't know how you watch me on this show in the mornings, whether it's on your hand phone, your cell phone, or on a laptop, or maybe you've got a TV that's wired for the internet. You can watch it there. But if you have one of those smart TVs, too, you're going to want to listen up. It is taking a screenshot every half a second. And here's what it sees. Filed a lawsuit in January of this year. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said something unsettling. Samsung smart TVs capture screenshots every 500 milliseconds. That's a half a second. That's 2 snapshots per second. Beams it back to corporate servers, analyzed, and of course, gets sold to advertisers or anybody who wants to pay the price. No meaningful consent from you. I'm sure you probably signed something somewhere or agreed to some terms of service. Same surveillance playbook, powers that are tracking pixels in your inbox, different screen, identical tactics. Texas court granted a temporary restraining order against Samsung, blocks the company from collecting viewing data on state residences. If you live in Texas, it's been blocked, nowhere else. That order vacated just 1 day later. The court's filings exposed how automated content recognition, ACR technology works. ACR functions like Shazam for your screen. Every few hundred milliseconds, your TV captures a frame of whatever's being displayed on the TV. Netflix shows, cable news, video games, content from devices you've got plugged into the HDMI ports. You do your banking online on a Samsung TV, it'll have that data too. In a screenshot, it builds basically a digital fingerprint and matches it against a content database to identify exactly what you're watching and for how long. Oh, yeah. Researchers from University College London and UC Davis confirm Samsung TVs take these fingerprints to servers every minute. LG devices every 15 seconds. The data flows even when you use your TV as a dumb device for like a gaming console or a laptop. Using it for that doesn't matter. It's still grabbing those screens. Did you notice I snuck that in there? LG is guilty of the same thing, except instead of twice every second, once every 15 seconds. Inevitable, invisible, digital invader. You invited right into your home. Collects the data, sells it to whoever wants to pay the price. Unbelievable. Apparently, the lefty whack jobs could not find a transgender person weird enough to read to kids. So they settled for the next best thing, Obama and Mamdani. One of the things Democrats are good at is finding the last person you would ever leave your child alone with, and then having that person read to a group of young children with all the genuineness of the marital bliss between Emmanuel Macron and his man-wife bride Brigitte. As you might have noticed, Americans haven't been digging the leftist practices of men dressing up as women in the worst possible way, and then having to read to children. This agenda lost a lot of its mojo. That includes having sexual deviants read stories to kids. So apparently the powers that be in the Democratic machine think the next best thing is to have extremely lefty men's with Muslim names sit down with a daycare to promote socialism and indoctrinate the kids. Yeah, that actually happened. And here's the knuckleheads now as they get introduced at the daycare.
What's his first name?
His first name is Mayor. Rule number 1, make it look nice and innocent. And that means you smile a lot, sing one of the most inoffensive children's songs you can find. Like, say, the wheels on the bus. Okay. Not too weird, huh? I think it's pretty safe to say that Mamdani wouldn't have much of anything if he didn't have that smile of his. It masks a lot. It is the perfect smile for deception, if you haven't noticed. Any parent with good radar for stranger danger, you can spot that insincerity from a mile away. And his sidekick, a man who ought to be in a prison outfit, Obama, thinks he's the star of this classroom. He's not to the kids. Long gone from the White House before these kids were even born. They know who the mayor is. They all know the skinny, non-binary looking, gray-haired man is probably the mayor's dad. Oh, Manischewitz, I'm telling you. Did you hear this? I love this story. Man, just a quick one. 91-year-old grandma went what the family thought was missing. and they called the police to do a welfare check on her. So the police arrived at her house and found something kind of unexpected. Not only she was found playing video games, which is why she wasn't answering the phone or returning texts. Not only that, the reason she was ignoring everybody else in the outside world is because she was setting a new record on her game. Don't get in the way of Grandma. Cops got a good laugh out of it. The body cam footage sadly shuts when the police department sent this footage out. They cut it because of privacy issues, but this is funny.
Woman Thursday night.
783, garage doors open. We're gonna make entry.
Police, her family, all unable to get a hold of the homeowner.
And vehicles in the garage.
The woman, a part of the city's Are You OK program. This time, another woman not answering the call.
Everyone's a little bit alarmed that she was missing these contacts.
What would police find this time?
Westlake Police!
To protect the woman's identity, police didn't release any more of that video. But what happens next? No one would have guessed.
Turned out to be all okay. Everyone got a good laugh out of it.
Police found her all right in her room. We'll let the officers called to dispatch explain the rest.
We're here with her now. She's playing video games in her bedroom.
Police say not just playing video games, but trying to beat her record level, officers say. Woman Thursday night.
783, garage doors open.
Now, sadly, it does not say whether she actually beat her own record, but I hope you did, Grandma. 91 years old. Can you imagine? Wow. All right, I got one more to go for you. I told you this morning show is a mishmash. Before we do that, talking about the Samsung TVs and the LG TVs taking screenshots of you. At this point, Danny says, I give up with technology. It's inevitable. You know, it's getting to that point between AI and everything else. And you just, no matter, here's a tip, especially for some idiot Congress people out there. You are always on camera. Now, I choose 5 days a week to come on this camera and try and do a little entertainment for people. But even if you're just sitting in your house, minding your own business, eating your Cocoa Puffs, you're on camera, okay? All right. So this is a quick one. It's just a picture, but the headline says it all. And the minute I saw it, I thought, holy crap, you're right. Not only do I remember having one, my parents having one, but it had the coolest smell when you opened the door inside. I don't know whether it was the varnish. No, it wasn't that kind of getting high smell. It was just this wood magazine smell to it that I will never forget. I can close my eyes and smell it to this day. I'm not kidding. I don't care who you are, either you or more than likely your family had this exact same table at some point in your life. Take a look. You remember that? 100%. And by the looks of the couch, the wall paneling, and the rug, I gotta guess this is the 70s, which is exactly when my parents, late 60s and 70s, would have had one of these. You recognize it? Have you seen one? Did you have one? Did your parents have one growing up? Maybe not nowadays, but the chances are, if you're old enough, you had one. Okay. Hey, we're done. Thank you, folks. Be sure and visit our sponsors. They are down there in the description. You can pull that down. It says show more. Head up Blackout Coffee, NordVPN, Patriot Mobile, all those great folks. If you'd like to just donate to help keep the program going, you can do that at our PayPal link. The link is right there at the top of the description, and we really appreciate it. All right. We'll be back again tomorrow for the Tuesday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.